Hello guys, this is OLU-LAWAL. You can call me Nife. You can call me Nife. I'm glad to have you here on my YouTube channel. I want you to make sure you subscribe, you like, you share, you comment, and thank you so much for the feedbacks. This has been an amazing ride, and I'm just really grateful to God for the opportunity to be on your screen again. So today, what are we talking about? I'm talking about PMS. And if you know me, if you know me, and if you follow me on Instagram, you know that that was a topic that I put out there. That I was like, put a poll out there, and I was asking people that what is one topic that you think that I've always wanted to talk about, but I've not had the opportunity to. And yes, PMS is the correct answer to the poll questions. So PMS, for those that don't know or for those that know, is premenstrual syndrome. What was holding me back from talking about PMS is because I just felt like I needed to come from like a medical perspective, come with the medications and all the interventions to prescribe. But I actually got like a different approach, like in the place of prayer and just, going about my business really. And is that I should talk about like practical steps. So instead of going the medical route, I will just talk about some practical steps that you can adopt to help you navigate premenstrual syndrome. So, what is premenstrual syndrome? Premenstrual syndrome is basically a compilation of symptoms, right? So, you have some symptoms towards your menstruation. So, menstruation, yes, we know what menstruation is, right? So, women bleed every month, right? So, 1 week or some days to the actual bleeding. Some women experience irritation. They feel irritable, like the slightest of provocation. In fact, it doesn't even have to be provocation. It might just be you just moving funny and they're just upset, right? Some women feel irritable. They have low mood. They feel very overwhelmed. They feel very like less energetic. So they feel very tired. They feel very slow. They feel like they're not themselves. And as a woman, if you're a woman watching this, you can relate to this. There are sometimes I just feel like, why am I feeling so tired? Why am I not in the mood? Why am I feeling like those times? Funny enough, you just feel like the weight of the world is on you. You feel like your life is no good, and I don't know why. Like, of course, it's the hormones that are playing a trick on your mind, and you begin to just look at your life through the lens of like maybe comparison, right? And you just feel so low and feel so down. So this is a very important conversation for us to have. So what are some practical steps that can help you? One is journal. So journal or track, right? So I want you to actually take out like a calendar, maybe like an electronic calendar. It doesn't have to be the paper one, right? And just take note of what periods of my month do I feel this way. But back to what I was saying, take it easy. So now that you've already like walked ahead or you've prepared ahead of time, now you're able to actually take in those moments of vulnerability, you're feeling overwhelmed, or feeling not as good, right? And you are able to take it easy on yourself, because sometimes PMS is even more compounded by you being so hard on yourself, you putting pressure on yourself that, oh, I have this deadline to meet, I have this thing to do. You're not helping anyone, because at the end of the day you will not get that work done, and you'll still now be frustrated. You don't want to do that to yourself, right? So take it easy on yourself. That's the second thing. The third thing I would say is exercise. So exercise looks different for different people. One major thing that is released when we exercise is endorphins. You should take that out, and you'll be able to plan ahead of time, because you'll be able to track that, okay, 5 days before I see my bleeding or my menses, I feel this way. So you already know that it's coming. You're already preparing. You're already mentally ready. You're already putting structures in place. So some of those structures are what we're going to talk about. So one is, make sure you track it. Know exactly what periods you feel this way. That is one. That would help you a whole lot. Two is that take it easy. You have to take it easy. The truth of the matter is, even for men, they have some times that they feel the most productive. Just the human, you know, the human nature in general. We have some times that we feel the most productive, and we have some times that we just feel like, oh man, let me just get through this day, right? So most times those few days before the menses, you would feel so tired and feel not motivated to get work done. So what I would advise is the remaining time of the month, make sure you are most productive. In fact, if you can overwork in a way that it doesn't affect like your mental health or affect your physical health, I would advise that you actually anticipate that there will be some periods that I might not have that energy to get work done. So, you know what, let me be the most productive in the other times of this month. Endorphins is a feel good hormone. It makes you feel euphoric, it makes you feel alive, makes you feel like, okay, I'm good, right? So, in those moments where the female hormones are making you feel sad and making you feel so low and all of that, you can actually replace them or compensate replenish them with endorphins. Exercise could be you going to the gym, it could be you taking a walk, it could be you stretching, it could just be you just walking up and down. Trust me, you have to move, right? Because the tendency during those periods is for you to just stay at a point and just feel so, let's not go over those symptoms again, right? But move around. Make sure you are active in whatever capacity. It could be you dancing, right? Play your favorite song. Trust me, you will not feel like doing these things. Trust me. Just push yourself. You know, that scripture that says that for the joy that Jesus saw ahead of him, he endured the cross. You know, despising the shame, and is now seated at the right hand of God. It's the same way you would see that those endorphins at the end of those activity and be like, okay, yes, I don't feel like doing this, but I want to feel good, so let me move around. So that is three. The fourth thing I would say is do something you love. That's something that has changed everything for me. Days to my menstruation or days before I see my menses, I make sure I do the things that I really want to do, not the things that I have to do. The things that I really want to do, maybe like listening to a podcast, maybe like resting, maybe like shooting a video like I'm doing now. Well, that's not necessarily where my menstrual cycle is, but like sometimes I shoot a video around that time. Do something that you genuinely love to do, because remember, those hormones are already making you feel sad and making you feel down. But when you do things that you really love, you are what? Increasing the endorphins, right? Which will make you feel euphoric and help your mood. So find things that you actually enjoy. It might be watching movies, it might be talking to your friends, it might be going shopping. Like, of course, to a reasonable extent, because there's the temptation to overcompensate. Everything is balanced at the end of the day. But make sure you find things that you enjoy doing and make sure you do it at that point in time. The fifth and final thing I would say is worship, 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 worship. Honestly, those times you might feel the farthest from God. And I feel like that is like a time that the enemy like puts thoughts in your head. Trust me. I noticed that during those periods, I'm so critical about myself. Like things that should not necessarily be a big deal. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, Nifa, you could have. And you also notice I didn't even add it to the symptoms. You feel more emotional. You cry a lot of times around those periods. I just like, this is not such a big deal. Like in your mind of mind, you know that this is not such a big deal. So why am I reacting like this? It's just your hormones, right? So the last point, as I said, is worship. Stay in God's presence. Usually those times I just sit in God's presence. I just allow God to pour into me. I just play a worship song in the background. I just Most times during those times is sometimes difficult to pray because you just don't have the energy. So what I do is, as I'm talking to you guys, I talk to God, right? I just talk to God. Sometimes maybe I don't have the energy to even talk. I write what I'm trying to say to God, right? So those are things that you must do. You must not be far from God during those periods, because trust me, it is a window that the enemy can take and just fill your heart with negative thoughts, and you don't want that. So just the summary of everything I've said is: one, journal, track the periods of the months that you feel those symptoms. 1 week, usually 1 week to few days to your menstruation. That's one. I don't know if it's going to be in the same particular order. Two is for you to worship, right? Which was the final point I said. Worship, stay in God's presence. Three is make sure you what? take it easy. You can try to be most productive on the other times of the month, but during those periods, just take it easy. Take it easy on yourself. 4 is do something that you love to do, something that you genuinely enjoy doing. Okay. The fifth thing, I don't remember what the fifth point was because I kind of rearranged it, but actually a bonus point is coming, which is you might have to reduce your interaction with people during those times. Because as I said, one of the symptoms is you feel irritable. So like little things just get to you. You might minimize your interactions with people. But of course, we have to go to work. Of course, we have to go to school. Of course, we have families to feed. We have things to do. But within reason, when you can reduce those interactions, feel free to reduce those interactions. I'm so glad I finally got to shoot a video on PMS. You have no idea. I hope this has been helpful. I would love to hear feedbacks on if this was helpful, what you usually do, because of course I don't know everything. There will be some things that you might have tried or your sister might have tried out. So feel free to share in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, you like, and you share. Take care, guys.